What celebrity would you think is the person who inspired you the most, and why is it Beyonce?
Oh my gosh.
This week on the CorCreative podcast, meet model, entertainer, and multi-talented creative Kayla Magdalena, whose beauty, charm, intelligence, and courage to go after her dream has opened up opportunities to walk at both the DC and New York Fashion Week, featured in magazines, and performing for her first concert, all in less than a year's time. Chatting with her was an absolute treat. I hope you enjoy. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more inspiration here at the CorCreative Podcast.
Here we go. Hello, 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 everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the CorCreative Podcast. I am your girl, Mo, and I am so excited, so very excited to have the beautiful, the talented, the extremely intelligent, just talent in all things guest, Miss Kayla Magdalena. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much. Thank you for that amazing intro. I will bring you with me everywhere, please.
Oh my goodness.
I'm so excited to be here.
Girl, I'm your number one fan. As soon as I started seeing what you were doing, and of course, these beautiful pictures that you are putting out there. She is a model, one of the many things that she does. We'll talk about that here. But one of the many things that you do, I was just like geeking, because for me, it's like, okay, it's about time. It's about time. You are such a talented individual, and I am so happy that you are finally stepping into that and shining, and couldn't be more proud. So without further ado, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Thank you so much. Now that I'm all blushing and like, oh, so as you said, I am a model somehow now. I'm also a singer. I enjoy acting and theater and all things creative. I'm just trying to see how I can align my reality with my dream world and just be able to use all of the things that I feel are really innate in me and try to work at them and make them, more marketable skills, more skills that I can live off of. So, yeah.
Awesome. So were you always into modeling? When did you first kind of stumble upon this career? How did you know that this was the thing that you wanted to do?
Yeah, no, that's a good question. I have not always been into modeling. I've done like a few things when I was little, but I didn't even really understand what I was doing. It was just like, oh, we want to take some photos for this brochure for the school or for something else, things like that. I have definitely always been in the arts in some form or fashion. My mom had us in ballet from, I think when I was 3, I started taking ballet. And she says that I was singing in the womb. So I come from a lot of musicians in my family. And so music is probably actually my first passion. And I started modeling. Well, I did some modeling also in college. Like, I don't know if everybody had this, but like when people are trying to figure out what they want to do and finding their hobbies, and you meet photographers that wanted, oh, can you model for me or do things like that? So I was like, okay, I'll take pictures or whatever, but I didn't consider it modeling. But I realized that I was getting practice, and there were things that I didn't like, or I felt like it was, I didn't feel like I could smize, or I could just like control my face and my body how I wanted to. It was really more, you could get some really great pictures if you catch it like on accident. These are just my facial expressions. And if you get it, then while the getting is good, then okay. But as I started kind of healing from the grief of losing my mom and from the grief of having a not great corporate work environment a few years ago, and then going through COVID and all of that had me realize that I want to do this more, that I want to lean into my creativity and things that actually get me excited and that I'm passionate about. And so I wanted to see, I had decided like, yes, I want to be an entertainer. I don't want to limit it to just whatever I want to do, but I want to be open to whatever that means for me. And then I realized that I needed to actually do it to see if I liked it and I actually could do it, and then not just rely on, oh yeah, I've done it before when I was like 18 or 12 or something. I had to realize like, what does that look like for me now? So long story short, I put together a concert for not a lot of people, but I wanted to be able to like see if I could really perform outside of church, outside of school, and like do all of the things. And then my creativity started flowing. So I was like, oh, I need to have photos for this and get like, flyers and whatever else, even though it was only like for 30 people, but I still was like, I want to have this. So I took some photos with this awesome photographer named Ashley Bing here in the DC area, a Black woman.
I know. I went to high school with with her brother.
What?
Yeah, Scotty. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
that is wild. It's crazy.
People. Yeah.
Awesome. She was so dope. I didn't know her before. I just like was researching, wanted to find a Black woman, and that was really another premise of the concert, was that because I wanted to do it honoring my mom. And I felt like if my mom was here, she would have been able to do all the things I needed because she was so multi-talented.
Right.
And so I was saying, there are so many things that Black women do that we are so good at and that we are not celebrated for, or that we have to get relegated to this as a hobby or as helping our kids or as helping the church. And if we are given the opportunity to really live in the powerfulness of that, I feel like, I just feel very passionate about it. So I wanted to utilize things that were all from Black women-owned businesses. And if I couldn't find Black women, then I could do Black people. So I had a lot of like all of the food and the beverages. I had a caterer. I had decorators. I had a tent rental and chairs and a stage. I had porta potties because we were doing it outside because it was still during COVID and all of those things. And all of that was the sound system. I had a DJ and a bass player, and that was all Black owned or Black women owned. And
where was I?
I was.
Oh my gosh. I would have loved to be there.
Yeah, I was too nervous. It was at Jules' house in the back. Like, okay. I was like, if my auntie was helping, my sister helped and sang backup, and our friend that did our makeup and also she sang with me. And it was literally like, I don't want too many people there because what if it doesn't go well?
Yeah.
And but I also want enough people there because, like, I don't know. I know you're a singer too. I don't know if you had this. Like when I was little, I was like, oh, I can sing for like 100 people or 300 people. As long as I don't know them, I don't care. But if I have to sing for just like my family, I'm like, so nervous. Right?
1000%. So when I did the whole pop stars thing back in the day, I could sing in front of a concert of thousands of people and not be nervous at all. But you asked me to sit in front of close family and friends, and I just got cotton mouth.
Exactly.
I can't. My heart is. I got stomach, like everything. Yes, exactly. I completely get it.
Exactly. So I'm trying to like overcome that fear.
Yeah,
all of that stuff. Anyway, long story short, I took those photos. Ashley was very encouraging.
Yes.
And I still didn't do a lot of modeling after that, but I was like, oh, I can bring the fierceness. I can bring my performance to this. And that's how I can learn to control my face a little bit more, control my positioning. And I was already working out a lot and like trying to be on my Destiny's Child of like, I wasn't running. I was like spinning, but like trying to sing while I'm doing cardio. And
I know that's right.
All the things. And so that's kind of how I started. And then another friend just asked me randomly months later, I don't remember, but it was, months in between these two events. She asked me, like a couple days before, I have a friend that has a athletic wear line. It's Black owned. They need somebody to take some pictures. Do you want to do this? I was like, yes. I'm just saying yes. I don't know anything about it, but tell me where to be. I will show up. And I did that. And that's how I met the photographer there, is who I worked with most often. And he just kind of started, he was always doing photography, but also during COVID, he was like, I want to do this too. Like I enjoy photography and I love the science of it. And so then he asked me if I would be willing to take a few more photos. Like a year later, he was like, hey, I want to do this like Renaissance themed photo shoot, the Beyonce album Renaissance. And I was very much obsessed.
Which, by the way, in your honor, I listened to the Renaissance album as I was preparing for this interview.
Oh my gosh, me too. And I wear my Renaissance shirt.
I needed to channel that.
I love it.
So we can
get love it. I love it so much. So yeah, well, that's what I performed at the concert was the most of the Renaissance album. I was I am very obsessed with it.
Yeah.
So then when I started putting that stuff out, he was like, oh, I like this album too. And I don't even like Beyonce like that. So then he wanted to do a photo shoot. And then I met other people in that. I met a makeup artist that way. And she introduced me to the DC Fashion Week scene. I started doing that, like going to different events with that. And then I met a designer and he was like, oh, I'm showing in New York. So do you want to walk for me for New York Fashion Week? It's like, yes, absolutely. But that means I also need like a portfolio and need to learn how to do all the things. So it just kind of built snowballed from one thing to the next.
So, right. So speaking of snowball, let's go back a little bit. You just gave me so much, there's just so much meat. It's just so amazing. So like going back to the beginning of when you started the thought process of even coming up with the concept of throwing a concert and putting yourself out there. I know a lot of us creative people, we have all of this talent that is buried deep within us, but we are so afraid or we are perfectionists. We struggle from perfectionism, things like that. How did you navigate through that to saying yes and continuing to say yes?
So the album came out at the very end of July. I think pretty sure the end of July. And then I have a video of myself, Marco Polo, which is like a video recording or group chat, like, but with videos app. And so I have a video of myself. I was just like obsessed with the album, singing and dancing, realized that I was not listening to anything else. I literally listened to nothing else for months. But at this point, it had been like a week or so. And that I was like learning the songs. Yeah. And I was just when I pretty much when I listen to anything, but especially when I get obsessed with something like this, my brain just, I see myself performing it.
Yep.
I have always, right. Oh, I love this. Yep. So I'm like, oh, but then it'll be in weird, sometimes it'll be in like places where I've performed before. So I'm like seeing myself on a church, stage, like, nope, that's not where I'm singing this. That doesn't work. Like you're going to have to find somewhere else to imagine that you're singing these like insane lyrics. And the more I just allowed myself to dream, I was just be in the shower dreaming like, oh, what if I did this? Oh, you know what I could do? And my initial thought was, what if I record it or what if I sing along with Beyonce and like see if I can just mirror her runs and all of this stuff and like just do it with her, but then it'll be like a fun time and we'll have a party or like whatever, but it won't be that big of a deal. But I had already told myself earlier in the year, I'm going to stop saying I want to do this. I'm just going to start saying I am doing this.
Yes.
And so I was like, I asked my sister and sister friends on Marco, like, what if I did like a concert that was kind of a concert, but like a party, but chill? What if I just sang some of the songs and whatever? And then there was a Instagram challenge for the end of one of her songs for Plastic Off the Sofa. She does a whole bunch of runs. And I was like, I can't do it. And I just started singing like, no. And I literally in one night, I stayed up for hours, just like, I don't think I could do it. And if I did, I would have to like break it down into these small portions. And I was like, okay, let me see if I can do this little portion. And then I just, one thing led to another. And I was like, oh my gosh, I think I just did it. And I sent it to my friend, like, does this sound right to you? Like, did I just do this? She was like, record it, put it on Insta, whatever. And I was like, okay, I'm going to do this whole concert because that's like the hardest part. And then I asked my sister if she would help me put stuff together, because the more I said, okay, I'm going to do this, I just started telling people. And so that was August 7th, I believe, was when I sent the video to them. And then I did the concert on Halloween that October.
Okay.
So it was not that much time.
Yeah.
But that also helped me because I was like, I have a goal, and I was trying to create a routine for myself and like trying to convince myself to exercise and to stretch and to do all the things I need to do. But it's really hard for me, at least, when I don't have a goal, when I'm not working towards something.
Yeah.
So that was another thing. I was like, okay, well, that I'm working out, but I'm working out for a concert. And so I definitely need to like put a checklist for myself. Did I do 20 minutes of cardio and singing at the same time every day? Did I do whatever? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I was trying to, initially earlier in the year, I had gone to this retreat where I was focusing on like wellness and discipline and like a lot of stuff, but still had just started my corporate job and still wasn't like, I didn't know what it was going to look like for me to actually lean in. And I had to just realize, like, I think I'm gonna have to create it myself. So then I was like, okay, I'm learning all the songs, but then what is it going to look like? And just started kind of leaning in. And I have seen my mom do all of those things. She has catered weddings. She has put together performances and concerts. And I have, even when we were little, we would just like put on little concerts and performances for our family when they would just come over and stuff like that. And I was like, I can do this. I can do this. I can keep it small, so I'm not, too scared, but I can try to get, my friends and family, or like especially Black women, to be there so that I can honor them and try to help them feel as inspired as I'm feeling from this concert and from this album. And it just, I don't know, it was crazy how it all came together. And
when I tell you, I am 5 miles down the road from Jules' house. I wish I was there.
I'm so sorry. Okay, definitely next time. But I did have a videographer there. So
really?
So the video, I should have some videos coming out this year.
Oh, good. Okay.
Hopefully in the next like couple months, I will be able to, figure out how to use it and just whatever. But going back through the video, I'm just like, oh my gosh, I cannot believe I did that. I was in a lot better shape even than now. That's why I'm like, oh no, I'm gonna have to do something else, because it's really hard for me to be consistent without having some clear goals. So
yeah, absolutely. Oh my goodness. Okay. All right. Let's shift gears for just a second. I want to kind of go back to what you're doing consistently right now, which is the modeling, right?
Yeah.
And based on your experience, I know you're just kind of getting started, but based on your experience, what do you think are some of the challenges for Black women in the modeling sector?
For Black women in particular?
Yeah.
So I think being in DC has spoiled me and made it easier.
Yeah, makes sense.
I didn't realize, how different the modeling scenes are in different areas. But especially I understand that for like New York Fashion Week, it's people from all over the world literally coming and doing all of the things. But it was a much different vibe going to New York and prepping for a show, and being really the majority of the Black people that were there were walking for the same designer that I was.
Okay.
And I don't know, I think, and everybody else looked very similar. They had, just a very similar look and somewhat affect, even, of just very standoff, not like friendly. And I'm coming in there bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, just excited. Good morning, everyone. I'm so excited. And they're like, silence, like literally will not say hi back and just keep doing what they're doing. So trying to be like, oh, okay.
Just that's a completely different culture. You're so humble the way you just sort of glaze over the fact that you were at New York Fashion Week, and
because it also
concert for yourself, and just I mean it's just so smooth. You're just so smooth with it.
Because I know that it is grace, because I did not, seek out to be in Fashion Week or even doing runway. I was thinking like this would just be, um, photos, and it'll help introduce me to more creatives in the industry and things like that. But then I just started loving it. Like my first real photo shoot, I was sweating so much.
Really?
Literally, I was like, oh, I had a fan. Like my husband was there, was like, okay, we need a break here, bring your towel. And like, fan
Shout
me up.
out to the
I'm just
husband.
so nervous. And then even the second one, I was like, I don't think I sweat at all, like for the first half an hour or something. I was like sweating because I was hot, not because I was terrified. And like the more I just did it, I just didn't even know about the world. But so keeping my attitude positive, and
Sorry.
that's okay. But yeah, keeping my attitude positive and my affect the way that I want it to be, is a struggle. And like, or it's something that I have to make sure I'm doing with effort. I also think that I'm older than a lot of people, a lot of models, especially. I walked in one show, and the young lady who was walking with me was 14 years old.
So that was going to be my next question, actually, because you're getting started later in the game. When it comes to the modeling industry, I mean, these people are seeking out the youngest,
And
I
think it helps that I wasn't trying initially to do that, because then I would have stopped myself. I mean, I already have. And that was the thing. Like, even when I wanted to do it when I was younger, I was like, I'm too short. I'm not like stick thin or shapely enough in the right spots or something. And I'm black, and I don't know, I'm doing whatever I want with my hair. Like, I don't know. It was a whole lot of, negatives. But I think also starting in DC helped me see that like there is a wide range. It is very diverse and primarily Black, but it is still, there are designers that are seeking only, plus size people, or only people that have just a lot of swagger with their walk, or that, just, it's just so diverse. So seeing New York was very intimidating, but I think it still was okay, because I knew that I wasn't the only one. Did a different show with a different designer that I was so blessed to kind of happen into because of this other show that I was doing. Like when I was walking and practicing my walk, trying to walk in my shoes, for the show that brought me there, another woman saw me who was kind of like a, I don't know, recruiter or manager. She does something. And she was like, oh, do you have a show tomorrow? Because I would break my neck if I was walking in those shoes, but you're doing good. I was like, whoo, I'm trying. And then she booked me, she put me in contact with someone else and was like, oh, they have a show tomorrow, so you can do that. And that was, that I felt a lot more alone in that, because I knew no one else. And I was just like, I feel really out of my depth. A lot of people have a lot more experience, but then I realized like I was making that up. I don't know what experience these people have. And a lot of people, it was their first time.
Wow.
A lot of people, because a lot of times designers pay to be in these shows.
Yeah.
They get to decide who they bring.
Yeah.
And I heard about one of the designers who just brought people that she knew, and none of them had walked, none of them had modeled before, but she wanted like normal people, to show off her designs. So it can be a wide range, because it's not all like, supermodels. That's, I don't even know where they were,
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a lot.
Good stuff. Good stuff. So speaking of you touched on your husband being there, helping to fan you off. You've touched on mom and all of the things that she would have done for the concert and everything. Shout out to your support system. You have a very, very tight-knit support system. I know you just celebrated, I think maybe yesterday, mom's birthday.
Yeah, thank you.
So may she continue to rest in peace.
Absolutely.
And so I guess my question to you is, when it comes to mom, if she could see you today, what would she say? What would she say?
She would absolutely be yelling, "That's my baby.
I love it.
That is her like catchphrase for me, and all things school, all the performances, sports, all of the stuff.
Mhm.
I'm the youngest of two, and she has just, I mean, she's the reason I am who I am.
Yes.
I have a lot of her same temperament. I have her face for the most part. I'm
Yes, you
like,
do.
I,
Yeah, yeah. It's
so I've been
copy and paste.
told, I don't even, yeah. Um, but she would, I had to, remind myself, especially because certain things that I'm like, oh, I don't know if she would like this.
Mhm.
I realized that, she's so open, and she had a lot of young people in her life that she mentored and supported and just poured into.
Mhm.
And I had to realize, like, she's going to be okay if I get my ears pierced. Like,
Yeah.
she's going to be okay if I say whatever I want to say. If I sing, if this is a performance and I say whatever words I want to say, she would be
Mhm.
okay. She would just be looking at me like, oh my Lord. But
Mhm.
so excited.
Mhm.
And I think she was kind of waiting for me to own it and to want it, so that she didn't put her desires on me.
Right.
I never in my childhood admitted that I wanted to do anything performance full time or as my career, or any of that. I was just like, I want to be a doctor. Because I saw the show ER. Like, I used to watch that with her a lot.
Yeah.
And I liked it. But really, I just wanted to play a doctor on TV. Like, I didn't want to, okay. And I felt like that was acceptable and okay, and whatever, even though she was always like, you can do whatever you want.
Yeah.
She definitely was like, you're going to college, you're going to, be at the top of your classes and all of that stuff. And she worked in my high school. Like, I needed to be about my business,
Yeah.
but um, I think just, I know that she would be proud and would be encouraging. And I have to keep myself from being like, oh, I just wish she was here. I wish I had done this earlier, because it would have been so much easier having her help, or having her um, skill set,
Mhm.
skill sets. So yeah, I'm excited and appreciative of my dad even saying the same things, like, oh yeah, oh, you're your mother's child. Yes,
Yeah.
she would be very, she wants to go do this, go live, go be a model. That's awesome.
I
So
love
yeah.
that. I love that. So I can relate to mom a lot, right? Being a mother myself, and
Of a
giving birth,
very talented
I was gonna
two little
say,
girls.
having
Yes.
given birth to two very creative and smart young ladies, and then also having lived life, right? It's like one
Mm,
aspect as a mother, I want them to do well for themselves and to live a fulfilled life. I want them to not ever feel the struggles that I felt. I don't ever want them to deal with, being broke or, like going through any of
yes.
those challenges. But aside from all of that, what's more important to me is that they pursue the things that they really love and that make them tick, right? And
Mm,
I really do think that mom, wanted that for you. And
thank
I
you.
am so, so glad that you have that, continued inspiration that keeps you going. So, speaking of which, mom clearly is your number one inspiration behind just who you are at your core and why you're doing what you're doing. Outside of that, what celebrity would you think is the person who inspired you the most, and why is it Beyonce?
Yes. Oh my gosh. That's, I want to choose someone else. Like, but actually, well, yeah. I don't she's just, you know what? My obsession, I was not always this obsessed,
Hmm.
is when I started trying to do stuff
Hmm.
and realized how hard it is.
Hmm.
The respect went through the roof,
Hmm. Hmm.
because, and not even just when I started trying, like with the concert, but just Beyonce coming into her own blackness, and
Hmm.
like Lemonade and all of the things that I'm like, is this speaking to my life? Do I hate my husband too? Yes.
No.
Am I staying here with him? Yeah. Like, just all the things. And then like, am I
Ability.
like in all of the things, and having to be in charge of all of the things, and being a very brilliant, business person.
Yes.
Um, and not just being an entertainer, but being a musician, realizing all of that. I'm just like, oh my goodness, I am in awe very much. But I'm also super inspired by a lot of the new generation, like Keke Palmer.
Yeah, she's doing the daggone thing, is she? Oh my
Exactly.
goodness.
And she's like, I don't care. I did this album out of my own pocket. I
Yes.
did this, I'm whatever. All of that. I'm like, yeah, it's that type of thing that I feel like I'm inspired by all Black women, like I'm so impressed and proud of us for being here.
And she's giving major Virgo energy. Shout out to the Virgos.
Y'all are, yep. She really is.
Major Virgo energy. I love it. I love it. I love it.
She
So
really is.
you mentioned earlier, like, I think you touched on like her work ethic and how that inspired you to pursue your workout journey. Like as you were trying to get yourself in shape for the concert and stuff that you were doing, it made me think of the same. So I'm inspired by the same things when it comes to Beyonce and Keke and all these other wonderful women, is the work ethic. Like, I can't remember which of the documentaries that she did, but she was saying that she runs 6 miles a day and she sings on the treadmill as she's running. And that is how she is able to keep up her stamina. That's how she prepares for her concert. And I'm like, what? Like,
exactly.
That's madness. And I was not as blessed as you to travel to another country to go see a Renaissance tour and then come back and see it again while you were here.
Yep.
But I did catch the movie. I did look at
Oh, good. Did you?
And I was intentional about it. I dragged my husband out there to watch it with me.
Good.
I watched it at the end of the year because I knew by watching her video or her movie, it was going to inspire me to kick off my 2024 goals. And so that's what, that, like, for me, it's fuel. Like, it's not entertainment for me. I watch Beyonce because she fuels me to, like, become my best self.
Yeah.
Love her. She is
amazing.
Absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing.
Amazing. That's smart.
Yeah. Thank you. I appreciate that. Shifting gears one more time, just have one more quick question. You sort of touched a little bit on the, corporate space, and you kind of navigating through that corporate space a little bit. I know one of the things that you also advocate for are minority rights. You advocate for just Black rights in general, and more specifically, Black women rights, right? So I wanted to get your take, being a Black woman in the corporate space and also being a creative person. How do you navigate through that? And also, what encouragement can you offer to somebody who's in your same shoes?
Yeah. Oh, Lord. Well, let me start it in the reverse order. Please be encouraged so that you can encourage me and we can just keep this cycle going of encouragement, because it is what I have realized, as with the, exercise and working out health journey, it is not a straight trajectory. It is very up and down. I really thought like, oh, when I was doing that concert, like I wish I was in better shape. Like, this is only going to get better. I'm going to keep this up. And I immediately stopped. Like, it was ridiculous. I was like, oh, I am so tired. I am sleeping in, all of the things.
Yeah.
So, just keeping people around you that are going to help you be encouraged has been huge. And then pursuing my personal creativity. Like I'm fasting right now from a few different things, like through the month of January. And my main request of the Lord is for energy and discipline, because I get overwhelmed with how tired I am in the workspace. Even if I'm not overwhelmed with work there, even if I'm just like, okay, I should be able to finish this in a couple hours. It'll take me days. Yeah. It should, my brain is just like, come on, girl, get it together. Like,
inspired. That inspiration for a creative person goes a long way.
Oh my goodness. Exactly. And feeling like it's going to be worthwhile. Like, okay, is this just pushing papers? Like, is anybody going to do anything with this? So just be remembering that it's a journey, but how I try to stay encouraged. I have to decide that I am doing this for a person or a community. I have to like tie it to something, even if it is really just for a client or, you know, internally. I have to, I mean, that's if it's going well. A lot of times it's just like, I have to get this in because it's a deadline and it's 10 p.m. And I told him I would get it in today. So I have to literally, I've left myself no other time. I have to do it now.
Yeah.
And just trying to, you know, not beat myself up about like, I shouldn't have waited so long. Why can I do this? This didn't take so long. All of that, just realizing that I'm not alone in that. And that's part of the process.
Mm-hmm.
But having hope for something else has really kept me going too. And I feel like if you just do the corporate thing, you are waiting for like a light to switch or flip to, you know, switch on where you're going to be doing the creative as soon as you get out of this. But I'm realizing that you can't, I have to practice. I have to get in shape now. So I have to start, you know, learning more about the industry. Like modeling, a lot has happened very quickly, but if I want to keep doing it, I need to schedule some more photo shoots. I need to try to, you know, try out for other stuff, other shows and things like that. So it's like not allowing myself to give up either of the things yet, because I always want to quit my real job.
Right.
Like every other day, I'm like, oh, I can't do that. I don't like it,
Right.
whatever. And then I'm like, okay, this is a blessing. I have my bills paid and meals and, you know, and I can do the job. And I've been able to focus on the community that I want to focus on. You know, I'm very passionate because our maternal health crises for Black women is significant and it has touched most of the women that I know.
Wow.
You know, and so if I'm able to say, I'm doing this for them, I'm doing this for my sister so that she can be listened to when she's actually in the hospital and all of that, then it helps. And then if I can do a few things that are creative at the job too, which they're kind of open to. Like,
you hit the nail on the head. I was just going to say that you sort of answered the question, is trying to find those creative moments within the corporate space.
Exactly.
To keep that spark alive.
Exactly. And allowing yourself to be excited about that too, because like we have opportunities, like I could do a podcast with work, or I could interview people that I want to interview and be like, hey, this is the product that I want to provide. You know, I know you just want me to write this like white paper, but I want to interact with people and doing it and then giving it to them to say, hey, how do you want to use this? Or can we use, you know, giving them something that, you know, people want to be inspired too, even in the corporate world. They're still just people.
Yeah.
And so I'm trying to take that advice and be inspired there as well.
I love that. You are absolutely brilliant. I mean, just brilliant. I love that so much. Thank you for sharing. So I have to say, I have to follow my sword a little bit. I am a bad podcast interviewer. I tried to go back and find the magazine that you were recently featured in. Couldn't find it.
That's me not being a good, you know, promoter. I have to figure out how to do that better.
But broadcast it all on the CorCreative page. But can you share a little bit more about that? I mean, like, hello, that's incredible.
So crazy. So it's LDL magazine. They are based in Southern California, and it's a Black woman owned publication.
Of course.
And exactly, which I was just honored because they reached out to me on Instagram. And they highlight other minorities, businesses of color. They have a lot of different avenues that they focus on. And so in the issue where I am, there's another model on the cover. She's an author. And they have another a travel company called Two Peacocks Travel. And it's two Latina women, I believe, that started their own business. And so they're, you know, highlighting them. And so they asked me to be a feature in their like December issue, which was their 1-year anniversary. So it's a newer publication, but it was a celebration of how far they've come and doing the same thing. They are also wanting to highlight and celebrate minorities of the creative, all of the creative spectrum of things that, that we do. And so I was like, I'm just so grateful because I could not ask for a better opportunity for it to be my first publication, to be, highlighting a lot of Black owned businesses, to be, spearheaded by a Black woman who was in the corporate space and then, started doing this.
Yes.
And it's just, it's a really great opportunity. I'm so honored. It came together very quickly.
Yeah.
I was in Hawaii while it happened because it was over like Thanksgiving break when they were, but the Thanksgiving time period when they reached out to me, and I was like, is this real? Because I don't know that much about social media. Am I getting spammed or catfished or something?
Yeah.
And then I talked to her on the phone and I was like, oh no, the vibes are right. I could tell she was a real person. And then I scheduled a photo shoot with the same photographer that I'd worked with. And a lot of the Black women that I had been doing photo shoots that had helped me with the photo shoots, and makeup artists, the lash tech, the nails, the outfits. I wanted to be able to highlight them because they're the ones who got me here. I would not feel as confident modeling without all of their assistance. So being able to have somewhere in print that like, yes, this is, it's me, but this is not just me. This is because of all of these other people. And then talk a little bit about my journey also, was such an honor.
That is so amazing. I am so excited for you. You must have read the Shonda Rhimes book, The Year of Yes, because it seems like you are just saying yes to things over and over and over again. And you see where that's leading.
I am trying. I did not read her book yet, but I understood the concept. But I've listened to like 4 memoirs already this year. It's been, I don't know, but thank you for saying that. So she will be next.
Kayla, thank you so very much for joining us. This was an absolute pleasure. I had so much fun. Before we go, tell us a little bit about what you got coming up next, where we can find you, all of that.
Yes, thank you. You can find me on Instagram, my professional page, which I'm still trying to figure out what that means, but it is Kayla Magdalena, just my name. And then my personal page is Vegas Luz, like light in Spanish. So Vegas, like the place, Luz. And that's where I'll put most of my content goes there. A lot of behind the scenes, just what I'm thinking, so people can get to know me and see what else is up there. Coming up, I have another couple of photo shoots in the next couple of months. I have the video hopefully coming out soon from the concert.
I cannot wait.
I'm very excited. And then I have a lot of goals that I've tried to be very concrete with for the year. So I want to try to perform live, even if it's just like a song. I want to do that like hopefully once a month. I want to post more things and just try to see what it means to be, I don't know if an influencer, but like be a person online, consistently. And so, yeah, I will definitely bring people along. I think I would love to get your advice because I'm hoping to start a podcast also and just allow people to be with me on the journey. And that has been so incredible. Like I have a tight knit family that is supportive, but people like you that like see what I'm doing and are like, oh, yay. I was not expecting that. I was definitely like, it's been such a blessing. So I just want to allow people to see everything about the process.
That's amazing. Blessings on you. Cheers to your future success. Thank you again so much for joining us, ladies and gentlemen, the beautiful, the brilliant Mrs. Kayla Magdalena.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. It is an honor and a pleasure.
Absolutely.